Guys, I think we're gonna have a pretty wild episode. If you missed last week's video, we actually opened up a package containing a playset of ultimate rare Cyber Dragons, which to me are the most nostalgic cards in the game. From there, we put together a deck based off Yassine's top 8 YCS Niagara build and headed off to locals. The new deck actually got us second place despite some big misplays on my part, and it really did feel like classic Yu-Gi-Oh! With that said, we are now entering into our third month of returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think things are about to get even more thrilling. So this weekend, my friends and I, we are heading down to Toronto to compete in another regionals, and I think we're going back to Heroes. While I love playing with Cyber Dragons last week, while I do think it's a very competitive deck, at this point I don't feel like I've put in enough time with it to really continuously make the right plays throughout the entirety of a longer tournament. So we are going to iterate on Heroes, but before we do that, I want to do some playtesting so I can see what's working, what isn't, what we might need to interject, and luckily Mario does have a playtesting session tonight. So we're going to get packed up and, as per usual, learn a thing or two. Playtesting was a lot of fun, and it essentially consisted of Striker Orchest and Thunder, as they are the most difficult matchups at this point. I do worry, though, that the long-running Striker Orchest format may have broken Mario.
Engage. So Engage is going to add me Shark Cannon. I'm going to take it with Widow Anchor. Nightmare is going to dump the World Wand, summon the Skeleton. No, that's Widow Anchor. Because I opened the drones, but I play a 3, so I can play Babbles.
Overall, it was a really successful night. We won some rounds, we lost some rounds, and I now know what I really want to change with the hero deck. Hey guys, happy Thursday. We are now 2 days away from our second regionals, and I feel like we actually picked up a lot of good information on that previous playtesting night. The thing that really stood out to me was that breaking through Orchest's initial board, if they get to go first, is incredibly difficult. They just have so many interruptions, and so I think I want to incorporate more hand traps to kind of stun that initial board and make sure that it isn't kind of all that it can be. So I think that's step number 1. With that in mind, I will be throwing in 3 Ash Blossoms, and I'll be removing the Allures. While I feel like Allure did help us quite a lot in getting to Mask Change early in the game, the Ashes I feel are pivotal, and the space is getting quite tight. Now, the deck is also going to get a lot better tomorrow with the new cards that come out of Magical Hero, which include that of Sunriser and Liquid Man, and we definitely need to talk about these two. When we normal summon Liquid Soldier, we can special summon a Shadow Mist from grave and search a Mask Change from deck, which makes our first turn Dark Law boards significantly more consistent. It's also a water, which means we can go into both Zero and Acid, which essentially equate to that of a Raigeki and a Harpy's Feather Duster on our opponent's turn. Sunriser allows us to grab a Miracle Fusion from deck and extend significantly further. So, the ban list dropped, and I think so many people are going to be so happy. The game, it looks like it hit a hard reset. Now, what's really cool about this for us hero players is that nothing got hit. I really expected Malicious to go down to 2 again, but we still have that at 3, and we also have 2 new amazing support cards for the deck. So, I feel like if Heroes ever had a time to really perform under a list, it is now, and I feel like we got really lucky here. So we will talk more about the ban list a little bit later once, you know, we have time to digest it. But I think this is an amazing time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player, to get back into the game. There's just so much happening, so much excitement in the community, and I just feel like Konami as a whole is just knocking it out of the park. So awesome day, awesome announcements, and yet again, let's get packed up and head down to the shop.
Oh.
My life is so much easier. Oh, thank goodness. As a massive update, we were actually able to pull both of the cards we needed from the 3 boxes despite short prints, and we were set to really start playtesting. As a whole, the night, it was fantastic. It was actually Mario's official shop opening, which means I can finally include the address in these videos. You guys are more than welcome to come down, play some games, play some tournaments. I know I personally would love to see you guys here. I know Mario would love to see you guys here. And as a whole, guys, it is an amazing community that you are more than welcome to be a part of. With that said, it wouldn't be a playtesting night without just a massive amount of Tim Hortons and pizza, and it was definitely one of those evenings that just makes you really appreciate the community aspects of it all. So it is rather late, but I did want to quickly turn on the camera and give you a couple updates. The first being that we played a lot of Striker Orcus tonight, and I actually won significantly more matches than I lost, so I am feeling very confident about that. But I'd also like to put the big reminder out there that, again, I've only been playing this game now for like 3 months. I am still very unfamiliar with the majority of cards. I'm still actually reading most of them as they are played. And I think it's really important going into these larger events, especially as a new player, to recognize that priority-wise, it should be on fun first. It should be on just enjoying the road trip, enjoying the playtesting night, having fun with, again, 15, 20 of your friends. If you win, that's great. I don't expect to do that well. I think that is just fine. I am still very new to the game. But, you know, if we do great, then that's great. If not, that's still great. I'm really enjoying the process leading up to it, and I implore you to focus on that as well. With that said, I'm going to throw the deck list up on screen right here. This is what we are going to play at Regionals. I'm really confident in the main deck. I'm not so confident in the side deck. I think that could definitely use a lot of work. But again, it's all about fun, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I'm also really looking forward to bed. I will see you guys tomorrow after bed. The Toronto Regionals, hosted by Dollies, are about 2 hours away, so it was yet another early morning. This time, the car consisted of Ganon, Gareth, Brandon, Mario, and myself, and we had 2 other cars full of our friends on the way. I've personally always loved the road trip element to these, and it was already starting to look like an absolutely fantastic day. When we got there, we got to see our boy Bowie, Tyler, and I got to have some pretty amazing conversations with a couple of you guys. From there, we turned in our slips, registered, and round 1 started off against... That's right, it's Ryan Kane, a guy who I am very good friends with, a guy who is honestly like a brother to me. But how this happens in a 300 plus person tournament, I have no idea. I spent the last 2 weeks almost exclusively playing against Striker Orcus and Thunder Dragons, and what does he happen to be playing? Mystic Mine Burn. I was not ready. I then immediately realized that I needed more back row removal in my sideboard, but I did win my second match, tied my third against Guru, and won my fourth against Grand Maju. The fifth was against a super nice guy playing True Draco, and he very simply took the 2-0 win. It was actually a great conversational match though, and he wanted a picture at the end, which was super sweet. It's also worth noting that it is a 9-round tournament, and if I win the following 4 matches, I have the potential to get my invite. We did win our 6th match against Strikers and our 7th against a hero mirror match, which again, very nice guy. He actually watched the channel, we got a picture together, and he gave me a lot of really good ideas for the deck. I'd also like to note that Sam from Team Samurai X actually came up a couple of times throughout the day. We chatted and he gave me a lot of great advice about the deck going forward. He actually convinced me not to go for the Sunriser play when OTKing and to stick with Trinity. I trusted, and in the 8th round, game 1, I actually OTK'd Spiral with the Trinity thanks to his advice. Ash Blossom and Imperm essentially won me the 2nd game, and again, despite now being at the lower tables and playing the more competitive players, all of my opponents up to this point had that true Canadian kindness, and I was having a fabulous experience. So at this point we are entering into round 9, and if we win it, I actually get my invite, which is absolutely insane considering, again, we've only been playing for like 3 months, and I am still just making a myriad of misplays throughout the day. With that said, we are going to talk about round 9, but before we do, I'm going to go and grab a sweater because I'm a little cold. It's Canada. It's winter. It's cold. Now, honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to incorporate this next talk in the video, but after talking with a couple of my judge friends and kind of higher ups in the community, I realized that it was important to put out there. I realized it was something that could really benefit newer players, and I talked to so many newer players throughout the day, so here we go. Round 9 was against Salaman Great, and I went into the match prefacing the fact that, again, I've only been playing for about 3 months. I'm very unfamiliar with the deck and cards, and I'm going to have to read a lot of it. He, however, informs me that he's playing an all-French deck and that he does not have translations, but he assures me that he will inform me about all of the effects as we play. So I'm a little iffy about that, but I say, you know what, okay, we can do that. And he plays his first card. It looks like a buffalo. I'm still not really sure what it does, but I ask what it does, and he tells me it doesn't matter right now, which is immediately a red flag, because while it may not matter right now, it will matter in the future, and how am I supposed to play around a card that I don't know what it does? So it was immediately a little bit of a rocky start. As the game continues, I realize that he's only telling me portions of effects, and he's not giving me the whole story. It's really just kind of what's convenient for him at the time. And then it starts turning into an issue because he's building boards and then he's activating effects, which he didn't note earlier, and it's not good. But I am luckily able to summon Trinity despite not really knowing what's on the board and just kind of attack for game 1. So we do take game 1, but then we move into game 2, and this is where things get a little cringy. So we start playing and he activates a card. I ask him what it does, and he says, "I told you last game," and then he just continues playing. So he ends up building this big board. It's like 5 or 6 cards. I don't really know what any of them do with the exception of one of them. And he's at the point where he's just not telling me card effects. He's being very belligerent, and it's just quite evident that he's not an honorable person and that this match is it's not going to go well. So I confront him. I say, "Hey, you know what? You are being quite rude. You are being very unsportsmanlike, and I would like you to change that right now." So immediately, I think it clicked in his head that, oh, he could call a judge. Like, I am misinforming him about the majority of the game state. This isn't good. So he immediately flips the switch. He acts very kind, very friendly, very bubbly, and it was incredibly disingenuous. But at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get the real answers out of this guy. This game is already just a complete mess. I have no idea what's going on. I couldn't interact with cards because I didn't know what they did, and I didn't know how to play going forward. So I'm like, you know what, whatever. We're probably going to take the loss this match, but I just don't want to end the day on a negative note. So I put on a big smile. I acted friendly, as he did, and he won. He won the match. But I bring this up not so you feel bad for me, not so you feel like, oh, he should have got his invite. It really doesn't matter at all. But I say it because, again, after talking to some of the higher ups of the tournament, my judge friends, they were all like, you should have called a judge immediately once he wasn't telling you effects, once you realized that he was only telling you partial effects. And that's something I wanted to pass on. That is information that I think is vital for newer players. If you feel like a player is misrepresenting the game state, call a judge, make sure that is fixed immediately. That way it doesn't get really far into the game when you realize you don't know what anything does, like what happened to me. So I also wanted to kind of note this because, again, I put a lot of players, a lot of matches in a very positive light, right? And again, at this point, I've played 2 different regionals. The first regional is all 9 rounds, amazing. This regional is the first 8 rounds, amazing. Fantastic players. There was one guy who was very disingenuous, very dishonest, but it's such a small percentage. Most people are good people. Most people are honest people, and I do feel that the community as a whole is incredible, but people like this do exist, and it's important to remember that, and it's important, above all, not to let them ruin your day. Just call a judge, make sure it's handled as quickly as it can be, and then move forward and have fun and enjoy time with friends and against your other opponents, because again, every other opponent I had, absolutely amazing. With that said though, we are going to talk about the rest of the tournament, because while that was the last round, what occurred after that was pretty amazing. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about how the regionals actually ended and how one man single-handedly put the biggest smile on my face. Once the match was done, I turned around and I saw Yassine, the guy who topped YCS Niagara with Trapped Cyber Dragons, and the guy who's put a lot of time and effort into teaching me this game online. I also stayed late and talked to some absolute legends, like that of Gabriel Vargas, Ryan Yu, who, by the way, is always the sweetest company, and I also met an awesome guy named Ludovic. Sam recorded an absolutely hilarious deck profile with Triff, who actually topped with Pendulums, which did not use Electromite and only ran 1 Servant. He really wanted to test the deck before the new format started against full power Striker Orcust. He still topped. It was absolutely incredible. And Dominic Couch, the guy who actually won the previous Toronto Regionals, a member of Game Nation, welcomed me to Team Game Nation, and that was an absolutely insane honor. So while I myself may not have topped or got my invite for this event, I looked around at the end of the day as the venue was closing, and I saw my best friends. I saw absolute legends in the community, and I couldn't believe that this was where I am, 3 months into playing this game. I am so grateful for everybody from Team Game Nation for welcoming me into the community. I'm so grateful for Dollies for putting on such an amazing event. I'm so grateful to Mario for driving us up there and giving us a place to play every week. I'm also incredibly grateful for you for coming up throughout the day, for making me feel just so special. I had an incredible day, and I can't wait for more. So thank you for being there. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And I cannot wait to see all of you guys again. Yeah.
Jesse Cotton technically won, right?
Yeah.
So then, I give him.
Thank you for going and getting it.
Should I put the camera out the window, Mario?
That's it, I'm just loading the Tim's thing. Oh, okay, never mind. It's already logged in, so I'm not loading it. Let's go down there.
I feel like if that car had 4-wheel drive, it could have. the 20 plus unread messages. Oh my goodness. This chat.
See you in 30 minutes. I'll see you today, sirs.
Sounds good.
Alright.